So as we sit back in our chair, we start to give some thoughts. Hold on a second. We start to give some thoughts to how we're sitting in our chair. So feel free to sit back if that feels better, especially on the low back. And then give some thoughts to what it is that helps us stay upright. All right, so there are muscles in our body that help us keep our torsos upright, or else we would never be able to so hold ourselves up. So we're going to bring our awareness to that. Good. All right, so pausing for just a moment, let's just let the hands rest on the thighs. Feel the shoulders relaxing down. And letting yourself really soften into your chair. As we start to bring our mind to this moment. Start to notice your chair and how your chair supports you. Your chair may be very different from mine. Start to observe the quality of your breath today. Not really having to change anything, but noticing if it feels like a calm and smooth breath, or if it feels a little bit more restricted or choppy. So when we start with our breath, the rest of our body follows. When our breath becomes calmer and more fluid, the rest of the body is ready for more gentle movement. Just let your brain start to clear out, bringing your mind to this moment. And then gently bring your awareness to your abdomen. Notice the inhale and how it shapes that abdomen and pushes it out. And when you exhale, you can feel the muscles, the lower muscles of the lower belly start to pull back in. Take a few rounds of breath like that. And if you don't feel that particular movement, don't worry about it. And then after a few rounds of breath, allow yourself to just come back to a natural breath. Gently opening the eyes. Good. So as you think about it, if we bring your hands to our low belly, and then we try to pull the belly in, you're going to feel the muscles of the core, at least in the front part of our core, kind of contract. And then when you let it go, the belly then relaxes and you can take a deeper breath. So we'll play with that a couple times. So inhale, expand the belly. Exhale, pull the belly back in. Good, 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Good, last one. Exhale. And then just coming back to a natural breath. Now, using our core is not just about sucking in our belly. So we're going to start to scoot forward a little here. We're going to start simply by sitting up and noticing which muscles make that happen. So as you start to lengthen your spine, feel your rib cage draw away from the hips. Shoulders relax back and down. There's a lot happening here. It's like we have a girdle that wraps all the way around us. But our girdle is inside. And that's the one we care about the most, so that we don't need that outer girdle, or even if we did want to use it, okay? All right, so we're gonna find a little bit of movement. Stretch out your fingers. Notice how your hands are feeling. If you're in Florida, it's been raining a lot, maybe you're feeling something from the rain. And then relax the fingers. Good. Stretch out the toes. And relax the toes. Let's do right fingers, left toes. Coordinating a little here. Release, left fingers, right toes. So this is really gentle movement. Good, switch, right hand, left foot, and left hand, right foot. Good, and see if we can do both. And then release. Good, so very gentle movement. All right, so now as we bring our hands to our chest, feel your heartbeat and notice which hand you have on underneath and which one's on top. Good, with an inhale, we're gonna open those arms out, start to draw the shoulder blades back and down. Good, and exhale, opposite hand lands in. Good, continue, inhale. Taking a deeper breath, feeling those shoulders draw back, exhale, switch to hands. Good, we'll just go 2 more times. Inhale, good, exhale, you probably forgot which hand you used, but that's okay, and then 1 more. Good, and exhale, bring your hands back to your heart and just noticing how that feels. This is some movements I learned from a training that I did for chronic pain, people who have chronic pain. Good. Release the arms down. We're going to let the arms shake a little bit. Turn palms forward and back. Good. And then turning the palms up. We're going to sweep the arms up. Keep the elbows bent if you'd like. And then exhale, hands to heart. Good. Releasing the arms down. Let's take 2 more. Inhale, start to reach up. And exhale, release. Last one. Inhale, come up. Good, hands come to heart. Good, and then we'll take that right arm up, left hand stays on the chest, and then reach over. Remember, if you want to keep your right hand to your shoulder, you can. And then inhale back up. Left hand comes to the chest, right arm reaches up, and then over to the left side. Continuing 1 more time each side. Good. And then coming right back to hands over the heart. We're doing a heart-centered practice because I guess we have Valentine's Day coming up pretty soon, right? All right, release the arms down. None of us are going to be doing anything too fancy unless you order a nice big lobster meal or something to come into your house. Good. All right. I don't have anything planned. All right. So now if we start to think about the core, we think about these muscles that wrap all the way around our torso as if we have a girdle, but the girdle's inside of us. That's the important girdle. So if you keep your hands on your thighs, what you want to do is squeeze your tush if you have any back issues. So squeeze your muscles of your tush in and then hinge forward. So observe now what's working here. Besides your tush, we have some muscles of the belly and the muscles of the back working. So this is the gentlest variation. We'll come back up and then we're going to lean back a little. Keep that tush squeezing in. And now you'll start to feel some muscles of your back working there. Good, and then back to center. So we're gonna do that 1 more time. This time as we come forward, we can stay here or we can take 1 arm forward, maybe both arms. If you're feeling too much tension from that, keep your hands on your thighs. Hands back to the thighs, and then we lean back. The back is straight, so we're not slouching here. And then let the arms just kind of open out to the sides. Oh, it's a little bit of work, right? And then come back to center. Nice job. So we're starting to feel the front and the back of our core area that wraps around our body. And then when we lean to the right and just let the arms come out, you can start to notice the side muscles of the body, what it takes to stay upright here. Good, and then other side. And back to center. Good. Ooh, taking some circles here, if that feels good. Let your body circle around. Feel how the weight shifts from one side of your tush to the other and how it feels in your shoulders. You can even let your shoulders kind of wiggle around as we do these movements. And then reverse. As we come into our cat-cow, we're going to actually let the shoulders roll forward, our belly pulls back. So using our abdominal muscles and our tailbone tucks under. So this is part of our core work here. And then as we take the chest forward, shoulders go back. And now we're stretching the front butt using the back muscles. So continue a few times, rounding into your cat and arching into your cow. Adding the inhale here and the exhale round. Good. And one more. Good. And then coming back to an upright position, just noticing how that felt. You can do a little wiggle, a little shimmy, whatever feels good here. Good. And we'll start to sit back for a moment and just notice if we're starting to feel any warmth through parts of the body that we've been working. The back, the center, all of that is important. While we're here, let's go ahead and wiggle out the fingers, waving at each other, hello. Good. Do a little wave up and down. And then let's do a parade wave. You're gonna look right and left as you're going down that float and you're doing your little parade wave. And bring your arms back down. Good, it's a really good time for a water break. If you have some, go ahead and grab a sip of your water. While I check in with everybody, how's everybody feeling so far? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Good. I know I'm thirsty. All right, so we've got some good amount of people today. We got, I think, 15. That's about right. Okay. So we're going to come back to, let's see, we're going to do some lower body first and then we'll come back to the core. So let's take and hug the right leg in. So back of the thigh, front of the shin, whichever one feels better for you. Some of you will even just hold on to your pants, and that's okay. We're going to squeeze that in as much as you can. And just get the toes moving, pointing and flexing. So then see if you can take a nice, big, slow circle with that. Do you feel the muscles in your leg moving while you do that? It's kind of interesting. The ankle's connected to the calf, and then reverse. Good. When you're ready to bring that leg down, see if you can lower it with control. Where do you feel that? When we hug it in and you lower it without holding on to it, it comes from our core, it comes from our back, it comes from the thigh. So a lot of places that you can feel that. All right, so we'll go left side. So left side comes in. And again, hugging it behind the thigh or in front of the shin. We'll start to move the toes here. Point and flex. And then taking a bigger, slower circle around. And then reverse. And we're going to release that leg with control. Remember that if it hurts, you can just skip that part. Let it go. I know I get a little bit of tension right in the hips, the front of the thighs, and even the low back area. All right. So I had somebody in my class earlier, my in-person class, asking me about shoulders. So we'll take a moment to do shoulders. We're going to bring the elbows into our cactus shape. Elbows are at shoulder height or lower. It's up to you but don't go too high because we can just create tension in the neck when we do that. All right, so we start to draw those elbows back, and then we bring elbows closer together. They may or may not touch. So inhale as we open like an accordion, and exhale as we close that accordion or squeeze that accordion again. Inhale and exhale. Good, with it reaching back, hold here for a moment, keep breathing, and then lower the elbows down. See how that changes the shape or the sensation of the back. Good, and then bring it up, and maybe the fingertips even touch. Slide it down. Good, and slide it up. Good, and I'm just gonna swirl those arms around. Good, let the arms hang, let them shake out a little bit, and then just roll the shoulders up and back and down a few times. Good, and then reverse. All right, I know for me, I definitely felt that in my neck. So we're gonna do a little chin to chest, and a little slide of the chin to the right, and a slide to center, and then to left. And center, doing a little pendulum shape with your chin to chest. Good. And then letting the right ear roll toward the right shoulder, chin to chest, and left ear toward left shoulder. Good. Again, we're doing a little half circle here. Good. And then bringing the head to neutral and a circle. And you may notice that when we do circles in this class, we do it in the vertical plane. So our nose is drawing a letter O this way, and we're not dropping the head way back. If you drop your head way back and that feels okay for you, feel free, but it's not something I teach because sometimes it causes problems with some people. And reverse. We don't want to create any problems in our neck vertebrae. Good, bring the head back to neutral. Good, all right, so we've taken care of our shoulders and our necks. So let's talk about our core again. So as we sit up tall, take the feet a little bit wider. We're just feeling the length of our spine. And then let's go ahead and really feel the abdominal muscles pull in, and then let them relax. So we're just going to try that a couple times. Squeeze it in. We're not really moving anything else in the body, and then letting it relax. Good, one more. And relax, good. So what you each feel may be different. For me, I'm feeling it in here, I'm feeling it up to here, and I'm even probably feeling it in my glutes because I tend to squeeze my glutes when I do that. So we want to think about how do we feel the lower abdomen's firm, but still be able to breathe. So it's an idea that we can control just that part and still be able to breathe. So you can kind of play with that. I'm not going to spend too much time on it today. I just want to introduce the concept that there's different parts of the body that we can do that with. So now with the firmness of our lower belly, we're going to keep our hands on our thighs. We're going to lean to the right and then forward and then lean to the left and back. So we're drawing a circle with our torso. And we'll just go around one more time and then reverse and go the other way. So we're shifting our weight around our torso and our hips using different parts of our core. So you can tune into what parts are being used here. All right, and as we come to upright, remember this is the gentlest version, hands on thighs and drawing circles. If you want to go a little more intense, we're going to imagine that we have a big pot in front of us and we're holding a big long spoon. And then we're gonna make some circles like we're stirring that pot. Keep that lower belly drawn in. Squeeze your glutes if you need that support on for your low back. And you maybe start to get bigger, making a big circle all around. So we're using the sides of the body, the front and the back. And then we're gonna pause, come to center, change the hand that's on top, and go the other direction. So think about this as, you know, our big old kettle and we're doing boil and trouble. I forget how it goes. There we go. So this is a really interesting core movement. All right, and then come back to center. Nice job. All right, sit back for a moment. Just notice how it feels. So when we did that, we not only worked what we think of as our core, which is our abs and the front abs, the front abs. We are always also using the sides and the back. All of that is like a big old girdle that we have around our whole body. So this is really simple work, but if you do it mindfully, you should feel it somewhere. Yeah, you should feel it. It's the sides of the body. Yeah. All right, so now we'll take a little break from that and start to just extend the right leg out. And notice how the muscles engage here. And notice what happens when you press out with your right heel. You can do the hand too. But if this feels okay, we can do an up and down movement. And then we can circle. And and then bring down. All right, left leg extends, feel the firmness of your thigh, and then again, point, flex. Oops, we can add the hands. All right, and then release. Now can we do right leg, left arm? Up and down. Now, can you make the hand go the opposite direction of your foot? So fingertips down, toe up, and reverse. It gets more complicated because we have to coordinate this movement in our head. Good. And then release down. So yoga is not just about muscles. It's about our mind and our body making a connection. Left leg, right arm. Good. And again, point, flex. And then see if you can do the opposite direction with the hand as the toes. Ooh, this side's hard for me. Good. And then release. Good. So this is coordination. It's letting our brains get in on the action. All right, so we're going to scoot forward again. And somebody in one of my classes said, you know, years ago I used to do sit-ups to be really good, strong in my core. Well, who does sit-ups from the ground anymore? I do not. It's actually considered really hard on the back. So I'm going to show you a seated version instead. So we're going to bring right hand to right shoulder. And we're going to see if we can curl our right elbow toward our left knee. Feel the belly pull back. So we're rounding and crunching there. Good. And then inhale, come back up. So you can keep hand on shoulder. You can bring hand behind head, whatever works for you. We're going to curl and come back up. So how much you feel depends on how much effort you feel by pulling that belly back. Good. And then come back up. All right, if you want to add more, the left leg lifts as the elbow comes down. And then you come back up. Good. 2 more. Maybe even holding for an extra breath here. Good. And then release. Good. And let it go. Woo. Wiggle it out. Yeah, so those are like our crunches that we would do on the ground, but we're twisting, okay? All right, other side. So left hand on left shoulder or behind the head, your choice. We're gonna bring elbow toward right knee, left elbow toward right knee. And really feel the belly, abdominal muscles pulling back when you do that. And then come back up. Good, so we're gonna continue any variation you want. Remember that you can add the leg lifting and up. And I think we have just one more. Hold if you can, squeezing everything in. And then come back up and release. Nice job. Woo. Rolling those shoulders around, letting the body relax here. It may feel good to take a nice forward fold, letting yourself lean into your thighs or even slide your hands down towards your shins, head relaxing. Shaking the head out. Letting that low back get a nice big stretch. Good. And as you're ready to come up, we'll bring the hands to the thighs and slowly roll on up. Good. Beautiful. So those are just some of the things that we do that are kind of targeting the core, but in reality, every pose we do is involving the core because this is the very center of our body. Think about it, from our chest down to our hips, front, and all the way around. That's the very center of our body. So everything we do involves the core. All right, so maybe we take a little water break again, and then we'll start to work towards our optional standing poses. Remember, it's okay to sit back if you need a break. We'll go check on my Lulu real quick. Let's see if she's okay. Where's Lulu? Is she all right? Okay. Come on, Lulu. Lulu's a little bit stressed, so I'm gonna let her come in. She shouldn't be any trouble, but I'm gonna let her come in. There's been somebody hammering outside and it's really bothering her, so I'm gonna let her sit by me as long as she doesn't get crazy. All right. Good. She does her little curls, you know that? She does her little crunches. Right? Paw? Give me paw. Paw? Hey. Give me paw. She's not doing it today. All right. So we're going to start to make our way into standing. So you can squeeze the glutes and release. Squeeze, release. Good. We're starting to work. Do you notice if you feel it in your hips, your tush, your thighs, and release maybe all the way into the belly? Good. Quit panting so much. And then if you're ready, we can start to move forward, lift the tush, and then come back down. So remember, you can stop at any stage that you want. So you can stay there, you can start to bring the arms forward, and down and back. And we're gonna go, let's go for 3 more. You pick any variation you want. Knees stay over ankles. We keep the front of our thighs strong. We keep the lower belly lifted. I think that's 3. Good. And the last one, we come down. We rest for a moment. And just notice how that feels. If you're standing and you want to stay there, feel free. We'll be there in just a minute. All right. And then we'll take one last one. Whew. Yay for our lift off. Good. Releasing the arms. If you're standing, go ahead and make your way around your chair, behind your chair. If you are sitting, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to move mine out of the way. Good. We're going to take our feet a little wider, but toes turned out. And let's do our swinging. We're going to let go of some of that tension we just built in our core. When we swing, we can actually let the hands flop around and tap ourselves. Yeah, that's her panting. She got stressed. All right. right, and then winding back to center. Finding our mountain pose, our knees are beneath, our ankles are beneath our knees are beneath our hips. Good, shoulders are down and back. Crown of the head lifting. Let's take an inhale, sweep the arms up. Good, exhale, bring your hands to heart. Good, inhale, reaching up, and exhale, float the arms. Good, one more, inhale, reach up, and exhale, hands to heart. Good, inhale, reaching up, and exhale, releasing. Bend your knees a little bit. We're gonna bring the hands to the thighs. And then noticing your tailbone can tilt up as your shoulders roll back into our cow pose. And then we can tuck the tailbone as we roll the shoulders forward into our cat, pulling the belly back. So you can try that a couple times. Inhaling to cow, exhaling to cat. One more. And then as we come into neutral spine, we'll sweep those arms back up as we come on up. Good, and hands to heart. Nice job. Good. All right, and we're just a little march. Right leg, left leg. It's okay, Lulu. Right leg, left leg. We live in this area where they're putting new stuff in, new buildings, new businesses, and there's construction noise and it sometimes really bothers her. All right, last thing we're gonna do that's about the core, specifically about the core, is go ahead and hold on to your chair. And we'll step it back just a little bit. Just enough that you're kind of bending your knees and sending your hips back a little. Remember that if you are working on the strong back, you're pulling the belly in and you're lengthening your tailbone down, okay? So to work with, straighten the back. Now can we bring right knee up as if we were trying to touch our nose to our knee and then straighten it back. Good, so knee in, rounding the back as if your nose is gonna touch the knee, and then reach back. Good, I'm gonna add in a couple of options. The next one, we're gonna try right knee to right elbow, and then back. And one more on that, right knee, right elbow, and back. And then the last one, right knee to left elbow, making a twisting movement there, and back. Last one. And then we're gonna let that step back into our downward facing dog. So hips reach back. You can come into a forward fold if you're sitting down. And we're just gonna let the hips wiggle side to side. Head relaxes. Good. And looking forward, slowly walk forward. And just noticing, this is the side we worked on. Do you feel a little more sensation on that side? It's kind of interesting to compare from one to the other. All right, we're gonna do the opposite side. Lulu's just gonna watch. So once again, we kind of just step it a little bit back just so we have a little bit of distance and keep a nice bend in the knees. And remember, neutral tailbone. So squeezing the glutes, tailbone points straight, okay? Option, left knee comes up and we try to curl our nose towards our knee and then release. Good. Again, rounding, knee lift, and release. Good. This time, left knee towards the left elbow. And back. One more time on that. Using a different part of our abdominal muscles. And then left knee toward right elbow, crossing over and back. And one more. Good. As we bring that leg down, we take the bigger steps back, downward facing dog, hips reach back. Staying here, but keeping that belly lifted, lower belly lifted. Good, and looking forward and walk it forward. Good. And we can do our swinging movement to release that. I know I'm definitely feeling it because this is my second class that I've taught with these kind of moves. You guys are getting a little more than the other people. And I'm definitely feeling it. So I'll probably be taking a break of this the rest of the week. Let it go. Nice job. Okay, now we'll take a little bit of more fun work. We're going to just take the feet wide, toes turn forward. And then turning the right toes to the right, bend the right knee. So we're finding our warrior pose, arms are reaching down. So we're kind of taking our focus off the core, but notice that the core is still working here. Then we're just going to straighten the arms, straighten the legs as we reach up, and then exhale back down. Good. Take that 2 more times. Inhale, straightening, and exhale down. You can always keep your hands at center if that feels better for you. Good, and exhale. As you look to the right, let's turn that right palm up and reach up with the right hands. And back to warrior 2. Right hand or forearm to the thigh, and left arm reaches either onto the shoulder or overhead. Good, back to center, back to warrior 2. Releasing the arms, we straighten the leg, turn toes forward. Give our hips a little wiggle side to side. Think about Marilyn Monroe. All right, and then finding neutral, left toes turn out to the left side, left knee bends. Good, knee is stacked over ankle, arms reach out, palms are down. So we're in warrior 2 here. Good, and then with the flow, we're gonna inhale, straighten the leg, reach the arms up. And exhale, bring it back down. Good, 2 more. Inhale, exhale. One last one. Release. Good. Looking at your left hand, we'll turn that left palm up and bring the left arm up. Remember, it's okay to bring your hand to your chest or your shoulder instead. Exhale back to warrior 2. Hand to the top of the thigh on that left side or forearm down, and right arm reaches up. Side angle. Good. Inhale back to warrior 2. Relaxing the arms, straightening the leg, turn the toes forward. And with a really soft bend in the knees, you can keep your hands at your hips as you bow maybe just about a third or a quarter or a half of the way down, whatever works for your body. Good, and slowly coming back up. So this is like our downward facing dog, except that we don't have anything to hold on to. We're actually using the weight of our body. Good, and back up. Good, heel toe the feet in, so we're back to our regular standing pose. And we're gonna move to the right side of the chair for a little bit of balance work. Feeling your feet really underneath you. Feel your whole foot pressing into the ground. Both feet, I'd say. For me, I like to rock back and forth, and I like to feel my feet spreading out wide. Good. As you shift your weight into your left foot, your hand can stay on the chair. Right hand is on the hip. Keep that hip level, okay? So as your weight shifts to the left foot, we're gonna just bend the right knee. Maybe the toe stays down. Maybe you lift, but try to keep that right hip down. So we're finding a little flamingo pose here. So you can stay there, or you can bring right arm forward. If you're feeling steady, you can try both hands, and if not, you're just holding on. We're gonna lower it back down. Nice job. Whew, do a little hula hoop. So when we lift our leg, we're using the core again. So we are always using the core, we just don't think about it. And reverse. And the core is important. I didn't even talk about why the core is important. The core is important is because it's what keeps us stable through our hips, through our pelvis. It helps us keep stable when we're walking. It manages our balance. We really need it for everything. It helps us get out of our chair. So we're gonna move to the left side. All right, again, feel your feet. You can do that little bit of rocking movement. Heel to toe. And then really feeling the feet spread out wide. Weight shifts to the right foot. Left hand is on the hip so that when you bend your knee and come up onto the toe, you're not hiking your hip up. Keep your hips level. Then if you want, left leg comes up. Left arm forward. If you're feeling steady, both arms. And if not, just hold on to your chair. Good. When you're ready, lower it down. Whoops, I almost fell. And then just wiggle it out. So you're not the only one. You're not the only ones that feel like you get, off balance. That happens to me all the time. All right, when you're ready, we're just gonna come right back down to our chair. You can grab a drink of water, take a rest. Lulu's calming down now. How's that feeling now? Feeling okay? Anybody feeling a little sore? A little sore, a little tired? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, some of you may not, but you might feel. And that's, if you are feeling a little sore, that's the time you sit all the way back and push your low back into the chair. It feels really good. So we'll take a little break off the low back and the core and do some other work right now. Some other nice stretches, some awareness to other parts of the body. Let's start with hands. So let's do right palm up. Good. And then fingers down. Kind of just noticing where you feel that with the right palm up and then right palm down. It's always okay to keep your elbow bent by your side because I'm going to give you some stretches from here. So now with the right palm up, use your left hand to draw those fingers back a little. See if you get a nice stretch to the wrists. So with something like this, either elbow bent or arms straight. It's a nice big stretch across the wrists. Yeah. Good. And now point the fingers down and then take that left hand across the top of the wrist. So again, like this or like this. It's up to you. What feels better in your shoulder? Good. And now, as we let that go, we're going to turn the right palm up and then take the left hand and draw the fingers back. Remember, no pain. If this hurts, don't do it. It's just a nice stretch. Maybe you feel it across the forearm area. And just so we don't forget about the thumb, that left hand comes underneath and gives that thumb a little stretch. Good. And then just shake out that right hand. Then just kind of notice, does the right side feel different than the left? We just gave love to one side, maybe the other one's jealous. So let's do that. So we're going to do left palm up, really kind of pushing out through the heel of the hand and noticing the muscles. You might even see that there's muscles right there. And then down. And up and down. The next time we go up, we're going to take the right hand and draw those fingers back, feeling that stretch. Again, arms straight or elbow bent, your choice. And then fingers down, and the right hand comes across the top of the wrist or the front of the top of the hand. I'm feeling a stretch there. For those of you who spend a lot of time on the computer or doing needlework or what else, playing cards, whatever we use our hands for a lot. Yeah, good. And then turn the left palm up, fingers point down. You may already feel a little bit of movement right through here. We'll take the right hand and draw those fingers back. So if you can, we're just kind of pulling those fingers back a little. And you know, it's been raining a lot, so sometimes we get a lot of arthritis, you know, sensations in our hands. And then the right hand comes underneath and reaches for the thumb. Good. And we'll shake out that left hand. And then just notice if they feel a little more even. Yeah, there's so many other, I mean, we could do an entire class on just hands, but I think that might get boring. But anyway, let's wiggle out the fingers a little here. All right, now we're ready to take care of our hips and our low back. We're going to do a little stretch, sitting forward. Right ankle crosses left ankle, forming that wing. So notice it is absolutely okay to stay here. And we are not letting ourselves sink into this pose. We're still staying upright. We're still drawing our belly in, maybe even squeezing the glutes a little bit. Then if you decide you want to bring ankle to thigh, you can do that. So either way works. If you take your toes and point forward, you will automatically feel the muscles in your calves starting to work a little differently. It's kind of a cool thing because it really protects our knee. Now in our pigeon, seated pigeon pose, hands can stay on thighs and you can reach your chest forward a little, only to the point that you feel a useful sensation. It might be in that right hip. Remember, you can hold this statically, or if you want to work on the core, we're drawing the belly back and reaching one or both arms forward. This is a pose that is a little intense on the low back, so skip it if you feel like it's too much, okay? So this is chair pose with the pigeon. Good. You may even take and make some circles with your body. And then reverse the circle. Good. As you're ready to release, hands come to the shin, slowly come back up. Woo, and we're going to uncross that leg, shake it out. How's it feeling? So imagine that we could eventually one day do this pose without the chair underneath us. Maybe, I don't know. I can't even do it, so I shouldn't say that. But it's a possibility. It's a balance pose, right? And it really would just look like this. Your hand is on your chair, you cross your legs, you sit back. It's possible. If you've got your chair, right? It's possible. Something to think about. All right. I just say, open up your mind to possibilities, but also know when something's not right for you. All right, left ankle over right. I saw you, Sylvia. You were going to try it, weren't you? All right, it's okay. And then bringing it to the thigh if you can. Good. If you're already sore in your low back, this is a nice pose to do all the way back. Okay, so do whatever you like here. All right, hands on thighs, belly draws back, we lean forward, drawing the chest slightly forward, not rounding the shoulders, let the shoulders stay back. And then if you want the extra, one arm forward or both arms forward. Pausing here, really feeling the parts of the body that are working here. You can add a little circular, you can sway a little side to side. Good. When you're ready to release, the hands come back down and we'll come back to upright. Good. And uncross the leg and shake it out. I'll step over Lulu. All right, nice job. So, you know, we think of all of these different things that people do as sometimes impossible, but my job is to make it possible for you. It may not be exactly that pose, but whatever that work is, that sensation, whatever it is we're trying to achieve, it's it's us to figure out what works for our body. And if it's not working for our body, skip it altogether. It may feel good to take a nice forward fold here, just leaning. Head relaxes. And just breathing, checking in with your breath, letting your mind connect back to your body. What is your body saying it needs here? Maybe it needs rest. But if there's another thing, you can go ahead and bring your hands to your thighs and come back. But if there's another thing that you need to do today and your body's saying, I need this to complete my practice today, this is the time to do it. So again, I'll give you some suggestions. You can either sit back and rest, or we might take a little twist and maybe just look over the right shoulder. Maybe that twist feels pretty good after we've been doing that core work. And it can be a really nice, soft twist. Good. And then as we come to center, maybe you take it to the other side. Listening to the breath, listening to whatever you're feeling here. Good. And then coming back to center. Good. Doing just a couple of sun circles, inhaling, arms come up and to heart. Good. Inhaling, floating the arms out. And you can either bring your hands to your laps or go ahead and come down to a forward fold. Inhale, coming up halfway. And exhale, back down to forward fold. As we scoop that belly in, we sweep the arms up and come back up and hands to heart. So I'm kind of changing it up. If you have a different sun salutation, you're welcome to do that. Good. One more inhale, arms sweep up and hands to heart. Good. As we sweep the arms out, we begin to dive forward into our forward fold. And inhale halfway so that our spine is long, and exhale back down to forward fold. Inhale, reverse our swan dive, coming up. And hands to heart. Beautiful. Good. Pause here, maybe even close your eyes. Listening to your breath, listening to your heart, listening to your body. Gently release your hands and go ahead and sit all the way back. If there's another movement you need to do to complete your practice, this is the time to do it. Otherwise, we're going to just let the shoulders relax down. Maybe you take a deep breath, shoulders up, and a big sigh as they roll it back and down. And I'm going to do one more of those. And exhale. As we now let the chair support us, we can imagine the earth sending its stable energy up through our feet, up through the chair. You can close your eyes if you'd like. We surrender now to the relaxation of Shavasana, our final relaxation. Let your face relax. Let your lips and cheeks become softer, and the space between your eyebrows. Eyeballs, maybe looking at a point that's between the eyebrows, or even dropping your gaze like your eyeballs are trying to look down, just to let them rest. We let go of the idea of controlling our breath now and just let the breath be on its own, doing what it needs to do. And see if you can let your brain also release the poses, but staying tuned into how your body feels. Being comfortable with whatever comes up for you, and comfortable with silence for just a few more breaths. And then very, very gently begin to reawaken simply by taking a deeper breath. And then inviting the head to move, gently rocking. Maybe the fingers move. Maybe the toes. So start to find some gentle movement. Wrists, ankles, taking a deeper breath, stretching in any way that feels good. Good. And then just gently opening the eyes whenever you're ready. Good. Turning the palms up to acknowledge all that is good. So if there's some part of this practice that makes, that you'd like to keep, then hold on to that. If there's some parts of the practice that maybe weren't so great for you, then let it go. Just think about holding on to what you want to hold on to. Then we'll bring our hands together in front of our heart, sealing in a more calming and peaceful energy to carry us through the day, the week, or wherever you need. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you stay dry and, well, warm if you're in the cold, cool if you're down in our humid temperatures. The light in me sees and honors the beautiful light in each of you. Namaste.